Once again, good afternoon. John Verlin, On-Demand Advertising Solutions, another digital marketing update. And I'm going to try to make it through this podcast today because I've been looking forward to doing this. But I want to start out with a answer to an email I got from a lady named Janine in Lenexa, Kansas. She basically has some really good questions here, but I want to try to explain this quickly and then move on to today's podcast about the magic of entertaining podcasts and how you can do things emotionally with them, like do impersonations of Jimmy Stewart and Jerry Lewis, which I want to do, and I will do that here in just a minute. She says, John, I've been listening to some of your podcasts, checked out your website. Question, I've had people in content marketing as well as search engine optimization suggest various programs for me to do, quite expensive to optimize this, that, and the other. Why do you use podcasts over blog posts, and why shouldn't I just put more money into other media that's going to draw quicker response? Good question, Janine. Thank you for asking it. Well, I'm going to give you a sort of a short answer here, but basically if we go back to what I talked about yesterday in the 43rd podcast about 2018 marketing, and the projections of how important it's going to be to tap into millennials for future growth of businesses. And what they are looking for, what they are engaged with, is the emotional connection and authenticity. And this is something it's a pretty big deal, but basically it's the experiences. Shared experiences is what a lot of people now they're saying you need to really connect into for customer engagement. These are the buzzwords going on in marketing right now, but it's really important now because there is so many options, as you know, but you got to, quote, engage the customer somehow. Maybe have a party. Maybe, you're doing maybe direct mail or whatever, but how effectively are you engaging them? That's kind of what it's coming down to. What I have found that by recording content as podcasts, you're going to stand out. If you make a video podcast out of it, which is what we do, you can include pictures about your business, you can include video, but you can also include your voice, like I'm doing now, and that has emotion. And this has all come about primarily from my radio background, seeing what I saw as a DJ back in college. I worked at a Christian station that was 500 watts in the basement of a mall, about as graveyard shift as you can get, and went to a top 40 station, had an all-night radio show for a year in Abilene, Texas. And it was great. I mean, I learned a lot, had a lot of people call, got to go out and meet people, and you begin to see that, quote, engagement when they meet you for the first time. And they're like, wow, you're a star, and that kind of thing. That only happens, you can do that as an author in print, and definitely in television, but there's some magic there. And these are very cost effective, okay, is one reason. It engages emotionally. You can do 10-minute versions of podcasts and dive deep, so to speak, in them more than you can do with a blog post. Even though you can do that, it just maybe not as engaging, not as interesting. And by the way, speaking of blog posts, we transcribe these podcasts. If you look on my blog, you see there's written content as well of just what I'm just saying. So that is a blog post. It's doing double duty kind of, but it allows people to access it 24/7. You can be listening right now to me from my website and working out on a bicycle or walking or whatever. So it's engaging constantly. It's very simple to engage. By recording this content, you do connect that emotional element. And that's hard to do. It's just like old-time radio. If you listen to the old radio shows and you start laughing or whatever, that's the entertainment side of this thing. It's hard to entertain in writing, so to speak, to get the same effect. With the content, like I said, you can be doing other things and engage other activities while you're listening, and you may be doing that right now. And you mean, and you can, do a combination of things. You could be ironing, walking, whatever you're doing while you're listening to this. It's why people buy CDs and talk-related content, for learning and education. Now, basically, what the whole deal is that by using these, you have more flexibility to get your content engaged. Is, I guess, what I'm trying to say. When you're doing this with your employees or your prospects, you have your own little radio show. Guess what? You can interview them. Maybe you have a loan officer, you're a bank president, and you can put them on a podcast. Take pictures of them being interviewed by you. Or you have your employees, so you're engaging your prospects, interviewing possibly good customers during your little radio show and doing segments, and getting the employees involved, your staff involved. All of this is fun. That's a key thing here. This isn't just writing laborious notes and posting. This is engaging in various snippets of education, entertainment, and information. So, if you go to look at my website, now this is the front side of this thing, the entertainment side, the education side of content. The back end side, if you Google my business, on-demand advertising solutions, you're most likely going to see not only my Google My Business site page, you're going to see some links to my video podcasts. Now, if I hadn't done these, you probably wouldn't see those. Matter of fact, you probably may not see a lot of links other than from other businesses. If they don't do a blog, they'll just have your yellow pages maybe, your link to Facebook, Twitter maybe. But this is read by the search engines on YouTube. And YouTube's owned by Google. So this is the back-end benefit is you get ranked higher. Your business does. But it's also something that I call part of the marketing platform that you can promote this content. There's a reason now you can tell people to come to your website. Now think about that. If you don't have something for them to come see, what are they going to do? Why would they want to come see it? So what I do by doing these video podcasts for clients, I give their prospects and customers a reason to come to the site. And that's what this is all about. Getting people to your website, having a first impression to want to follow through and follow up and call you or come into your store. Does that make sense? I'm trying to do this in a hurry kind of because I don't want to spend a ton of time here, but that's why this is going to be really important for future growth of your business is engaging customers, getting emotionally involved with them somehow. And I found through my experience in radio, you can make these emotional connections through podcasts. You can hear my expression. You can feel my passion or whatever. Well, that's the same thing when you do podcasts discussing your expertise. People can listen in and go, wow, I didn't know that. And guess what? They're getting sucked in to your podcast on your website, which is linked to YouTube, which is all that's being searched by Google, and you're being ranked higher. Does that make sense? I hope it does, because that's the short answer to all this. Now, I want to talk about the entertainment side of podcasting to follow up on my podcast yesterday about connecting emotionally. When I was in college, I got into theater, and I was in a number of productions and learned an awful lot. It was a great experience if you've ever been in theater to learn for public speaking. First 2 years of college, got in theater at Abilene Christian University, studied under a man named Fulks, Dr. Fulks, who actually studied under Cecil B, DeMille, or his brother, I believe, in Hollywood. So had a great experience. Went on it, the last 2 years of college, got into radio and did an all-night radio show at a top 40 station, learned a lot. But the key was a lot of that when I would go on remote broadcasts. And, young girls would come up and, oh, I listen to you all the time. And they get all excited, and they're just all bent out of shape about this. So they would get all worked up over meeting me because they had listened to me all the time. And this is the emotional connection. They felt like they knew me. They felt like they knew me. John, how are you? Oh, I've been listening to you. I'm their best friend. Well, that is the emotional connection you can draw to your prospects and customers through these podcasts. How do I know this? Well, I've experienced it, but at the same time, when I was in radio, we had advertisers, we had talk show hosts all post podcasts of ads they did by themselves, or that they were being interviewed during a radio show. And they would post those podcasts on their website, and their customers could go into the website and listen to them. And that formed a powerful impression. Not only that they heard them on a radio station, but they actually got to experience that on their website. Now, if you're going to buy your product or service, and I'm a customer, and I go to your website, and I see and hear that, how is that going to compare that if I go to a competitor and I don't see that at all? Think about that. That's what this does to separate you from your competition. And in the back end, it elevates you in the search engines because you're providing good content, relevant content, and you're having fun. You're having fun. You can feel that excitement. That's why podcasts, I love them, because they've got so many multiple benefits to doing, and they're transcribed just like a blog. So you're getting the benefits of pretty much everything. Now, why do I offer this? Why do I focus in on this? Why am I pretty much the only one doing this with animated videos? Well, animated videos, they test well. You can get it in 30 seconds. You can put them on your Facebook page. You put them on all platforms if you want. They're fun. They're different and unique. The same with podcasts. Fun, different, and unique. And what are we looking for today to stand out from the competition? What are we looking for to lure people into our websites, to our content, to pay attention to us? That's why I focus on them. And because I produce all this for you and promote it, I can charge really reasonable fees because it's basically my effort and my experience and that sort of thing. So, entertaining podcasts, they're great to engage people. They're one way to interview, as I mentioned, your staff or customers, great clients. Say, I want to put you on my podcast. Would you be willing? And they would be thrilled. You interview them. You then send them, or I do, the MP3 until I tell them, go ahead and send this out to all your customers. Let them know you've been interviewed by so-and-so. Now you've got a whole nother market of their customers getting exposed to your podcast. Do you see how this builds out? It's an extension of your marketing platform. Okay, so anyway, I got into theater and loved acting, loved all this stuff. Started doing impersonations in radio because I was bored. I had a midnight to 6 shift. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, I'm telling you a story. Storytelling is one other aspect that's going to be really important and has been, but it's becoming more so because people want to hear about somebody. It's like when your grandpa or grandma said, let me tell you a little story. And then you would just be for a half hour and go, Grandpa, how did this happen? Or how, and that you're engaged. It's the same thing. So started doing impersonations because I was bored in college during the radio show, playing American Top 40, and it was actually about the time of the Bee Gees and Donna Summer and that sort of thing. I actually judged a disco dance contest in a Methodist church, of all places. So started doing impersonations and had a lot of fun doing it. Had listeners call up laughing, wanted me to do them again, da-da-da. You may or may not like them, but here we go. All right, here's Jimmy Stewart, as I promised. This is Jimmy Stewart, and John gets excited when he talks about doing podcasts, and I can see why he might, because you can. There's so much you can do when you're talking to somebody like this, and you get right up on the mic like this, and you can talk very softly and get a lot of emotion. Like I did when I was in It's a Wonderful Life. I yelled out, Merry Christmas, you old building and loan. And that's why I think what he's talking about makes some sense. Okay. Now, I learned years ago how to do Jerry Lewis through watching David Fry, an impersonator, on a TV interview. He said the way he would do impersonations is he would get in front of a mirror and make facial expressions of that person. And then suddenly the voice would come. So I'm junior high, and I go in, and I go to a mirror, and I start doing this. Well, I know you can't see that, but I'm imitating Jerry Lewis's face. And the voice just came, just like he said. And I would do it in junior high and high school, call people up, get girls laughing at college, whatever. So here's my Jerry Lewis.
Oh, hello. Oh, I'm John's friend Jerry. Who's your little who's it? Who's your turtle dove? Who's your little who's it? Who do you love? Oh, John, I don't feel so good. Lady, would you help me?
Anyway, you're either going to tell people, you got to hear this guy, he's terrible. But the key is they're listening. John Verlin at johnverlin12@AT&T.net. My cats are coming up to me on the table, wanting to know what happened to me. They probably think I had a stroke or something. johnverlin12@AT&T.net or visit ondemandadvertisingsolutions.com. We'll see you again next week. Have a great day.